Hello, you are listening to the Natural Healing Show for UK Health Radio. I'm your host, Catherine Carrigan, medical intuitive healer and Amazon #1 best-selling author. You can find out more about me and my work at catherinecarrigan.com and unlimitedenergynow.com. While you're there, definitely sign up for my newsletter so you can learn even more about how you can heal yourself naturally. Now, today in this program, I'm going to be talking with you about how getting your sugar cravings under control can help you lose weight, tackle your food addictions, and achieve your ideal size. Now, after surviving the stress of the coronavirus pandemic, and of course, many people all over the world are still in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. Our friends in India, our friends in Brazil, our friends in South Africa, all over the world, people are still struggling with the extreme stress of this horrible pandemic. And you may find yourself facing a new challenge, doing your best to lose the weight you've gained over the past year. And it's not just the COVID-19 either. A recent poll of 3,013 US adults showed that the stress of the coronavirus pandemic has caused an estimated 42% of Americans to experience undesired weight gain. Now, of course, this is just in the United States, but many people all over the world are turning to methods to self-soothe during this time of extreme change. Among those who did gain weight, the average weight gain was 29 pounds. So it wasn't just the COVID-19. A better way of accurately describing it was the COVID-29. About 50% of us who gained weight said they added more than 15 pounds, and 10% lamented they had gained even more than 50 pounds. So the stress of gaining weight may add to your financial stress because every 10 pounds you gain theoretically causes you to go up one size in your clothing. Now, do you really want to have to buy a new wardrobe of larger clothes? I'm hoping your answer is no. Could your sugar addiction have something to do with weight gain? Wouldn't you rather take advantage of natural healing remedies for sugar addiction? By taking advantage of this sugar addiction cure that I came up with years ago and I've used for decades with my clients, you can learn how to overcome sugar addiction and lose your excess pounds for good. Now, before I go into all this, I want to say also that sugar addiction underlies many other addictions. So, for example, if you find yourself self-medicating with alcohol, your sugar metabolism is going to be out of balance. And everything that I say in this program will also be helpful for you. Sugar addiction recovery is a key factor you need to master to attain and maintain your ideal size. Why is this so critical? So let's start by having a basic discussion of metabolism. What is metabolism? The simplest way to understand your metabolism is an equation. You have a healthy metabolism when the breaking down processes in your body are equal to the building up processes in your body. I was explaining this to a client just this week, and he said, yeah, anabolism equals catabolism. Not cannibalism, but the part that breaks down. In other words, when your metabolism is healthy, your metabolism is balanced. Every day you get one day older. So if you're listening to me, you're alive and the cells in your body are breaking down. The key question is, are you taking steps to build and maintain a healthy metabolism? Now, years ago, I had the great privilege of studying in person with the wonderful endocrinologist, hormone expert, Dr. Diana Schwartzbein. Dr. Diana Schwartzbein published a number of books, beginning with the Schwartzbein principle, where she explained in great detail about metabolism and what you can do to bring your metabolism back into balance. So I'm a trained Schwarzbein practitioner. Every other diet book you read is pretty much fiction. I've had clients come into my office and look at all the diet books that I've accumulated over the years, and they go, yeah, I've read that one, and none of it works. Dr. Diana Schwarzbein work is based on the way your hormones and your metabolism actually works. And the reason that this approach is so effective is because it's based on science and based on bringing things back into balance. When you master your metabolism, you can master your weight. As long as you keep chasing the latest ridiculous fads, keto, intermittent fasting. One of my yoga students, he said, intermittent fasting, that's just a fancy way of saying skipping breakfast, no carbs, trying to be a vegan or a vegetarian without actually understanding food combining, hanging upside down at midnight, etc. All these crazy things that we do to try and be thin, you will continue to damage your metabolism, struggle with your weight, and never permanently achieve your ideal size. The more you throw your metabolism out of balance by fancy forms of starving, the farther and farther you put off learning how to maintain your ideal weight in a healthy, easy way. I'm 62. I know this works because this is the approach that I use. I don't diet. I eat chocolate. I have a little wine occasionally, and yet I don't struggle with my weight. So this is what actually works. Now, before the age of 35, about 20 to 30% of us have a damaged metabolism, according to Dr. Schwarzbein. And again, when you have a damaged metabolism, you're breaking down faster than you're building up. Your metabolism is out of balance. After the age of 35, Dr. Schwarzbein asserts that 70 to 80% of us have a damaged metabolism. So how do you know whether or not you have a damaged metabolism? When you have a damaged metabolism, one of the big signs is that you're suffering from any or all of the degenerative diseases of aging: arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, adrenal burnout, insulin resistance. And another big sign that your metabolism is out of balance or damaged is when you struggle with your weight. When you eat anything just a little bit more than usual and poosh, you blow up and struggle and find that you suddenly gained another 5-10 pounds. Now, here's a simple way of understanding what it means to have a damaged metabolism. When you have a damaged metabolism, the breaking down processes in your body are greater than the building up processes in your body. Now, I could go into great detail about what causes you to break down, but for now, let me explain the two biggest factors that break down your metabolism. Number one is insulin resistance. And in this talk, I'm going to explain how to get your sugar metabolism back working better so that you can overcome insulin resistance and even reverse diabetes and hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia. And number two, adrenal burnout. Now, years ago, I found that about 100% of my new clients were suffering from some degree of adrenal burnout. So I published my book, Unlimited Energy Now. In my book, Unlimited Energy Now, I explain in detail how to overcome adrenal burnout. So Unlimited Energy Now explains to you the 3 stages of adrenal burnout: stage 1, alarm; stage 2, adaptation; and stage 3, exhaustion. And when you go into these later stages of adrenal burnout, your metabolism starts working well, your thyroid function starts to decline, you have trouble with your sugar metabolism, you're tired, you're depressed, you're anxious, you don't have the energy to do your day or enjoy what you're doing, and you struggle with your weight. I've had clients in later stages of adrenal burnout who come to me, they're working out with the best trainers they know about, and they're not eating anything, and they sit in my office and cry, or get on the Zoom with me and cry, because they're trying so hard to get their weight under control. And no matter how little they eat or how much they exercise, the scale doesn't budge. And I have to explain to them that their metabolism is damaged, and all the steps they can do to bring everything back into balance. So in my book, Unlimited Energy Now, I go over what I refer to as the 5 levels of healing, what you can do to rebuild your energy on the physical, energetic, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. And when you have great energy, when you have unlimited energy, you can do whatever you're here to do with ease and joy. Your weight is balanced. You can follow your spiritual purpose easily, and you have the inner resources to be a great mother, father, sister, brother, boss, employee, creative person. Now, adrenal burnout was and still is a silent pandemic in our society, even and well before the watershed stress of the coronavirus pandemic. I wrote Unlimited Energy Now because, again, 100% of my new clients are suffering from some degree of exhaustion, adrenal burnout, and energetic depletion. And I found that this energetic depletion was underlying pretty much everything, all their other issues. Again, whether it's mental, emotional stress, or having weird diseases and even severe diseases like cancer. Now, this loss of energy may show up for you as anxiety and depression. A lot of my clients, I tell them, you're not crazy, you're just exhausted. And that makes sense to them. Loss of motivation, inability to lose weight, again, no matter how much you exercise or how little you eat, aging really fast, where you look in the mirror, it's like, oh my gosh, feeling like you've lost your sense of purpose. Like you feel like you've lost your way in life and you're not really sure where to turn. Malaise, chronic fatigue, and endless illness. So all my clients who have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia and just these severe illnesses where they have no energy, it's adrenal burnout. And immune deficiency, and that of course makes it difficult for you to fight off really nasty illnesses like the coronavirus. So the more that you can take care of yourself at this time in history and build your energy, if you should become ill, you'll have the inner resources to survive. Now, the so-called coaching experts of our day tell us to push. And when pushing doesn't work, just push even harder. Push, push, push. 10x it, they tell you. I don't buy into that approach. I, on the other hand, am a big advocate of working smarter, not harder. When you get to my age of 62, working smarter seems to be the best approach. The course of least resistance, the easiest solutions, a low stress way of living and working is what I have found leads to sustained success, greater financial abundance, radiant health, avoiding the typical degenerative diseases of aging, and endless happiness. And all this brings me back to sugar addiction. I used to joke the key to life is to balance your blood sugar, and I'm serious about that. It's a really important thing to learn how to do, just like it's really important to learn how to live within your means, how to get along with people. Learning how to balance your sugar levels will help you overcome every kind of addiction that you could possibly face. Now, when we're stressed, human beings tend to find ways to soothe ourselves, which is understandable. So what does this look like for you to soothe yourself? One way that many people soothe themselves is you may be overeating. And it's very interesting because there's an acupressure point on the tip of your tongue, right there, on the tip of your tongue. And when something touches the tip of your tongue, it calms the amygdala. Now, the amygdala, you actually have two of them. If you go in above your ears into your brain about 2 inches, you have two amygdalae, and they're like the control towers in your brain. And when your amygdalae are calm, then information comes into your brain. It gets sent to the frontal lobes, the front of your brain, where you produce your own natural serotonin and your own natural anti-anxiety neurotransmitters. You're calm, you're happy, you think logically. If, on the other hand, the information goes into the amygdala and you go, oh my gosh, I'm stressed, I'm in survival mode, you go into fight, flight, or freeze, the information goes into the back of your brain. And when you're in the back of the brain, you're just reacting and you're not able to access your wisdom and everything that you've learned. So you may consider yourself to be a spiritual person, a highly rational and well-educated person. But when you go into an amygdala hijacking, you're in fight, flight, or freeze, and you tend to self-soothe and you turn quickly to the things that make you feel better, like overeating. So when we overeat, part of what you're trying to do is stimulate the tongue. And a real simple thing to do instead of that is something like drinking water or hot tea. And that's going to calm that amygdala reflex. So going back to what do we do when we soothe ourselves? You reward yourself with cookies, ice cream, cakes, biscuits, etc., your fun foods. You may find yourself drinking too much. And again, everybody who's got an alcohol addiction is also facing a disordered sugar metabolism. You take drugs, legal and illegal. You tell your doctors that you really do need those antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. And again, if you're listening to me, know that I'm not judging you. I published not one, but 2 books about how to heal depression naturally. But I'm here to teach you about what works even better. You also engage in numerous so-called soft addictions, online shopping, buying too many shoes you'll never wear. You live on caffeine to wake up and turn to sedatives and sleeping pills to calm down and try and go to sleep. Now, personally, since I'm being totally honest and I'm here being real with you about what works, I caught to vitamin C gummy bears, bargain shopping on Poshmark. I could give lessons on how to buy the best fashions new with tags for practically nothing, and reading politics on Twitter. So we all have ways, hopefully legal and hopefully non-self-destructive, to soothe ourselves when we find ourselves to being stressed. And again, I used to joke that the key to life is balancing your blood sugar. And I'm going to explain more about how to do that. Now, you may not have been diagnosed as a diabetic, but as your adrenal glands become more and more stressed, as you become more and more stressed, your sugar metabolism also goes haywire. So again, there's 3 stages of adrenal stress. Stage 1, alarm, where you first get stressed. Stage 2, adaptation, where the stress has gone on for so long that your body begins to adapt to all the cortisol and adrenaline your body's flooding out. And stage 3, exhaustion. And when people are in stage 3, I have my clients tell me, on a good day, I get out of bed and brush my teeth. So beginning in stage 2 of adrenal stress, your sugar metabolism goes haywire, your thyroid function starts to decline. Now, you may not have been diagnosed as a diabetic, but as your adrenal glands become more and more stressed, your body's ability to manage sugar properly goes haywire. And here's the story I like to tell about insulin resistance. So if I bring a box of donuts to my neighbor next door. So the first time I knock on the door and go, "Hi, it's Catherine Carrigan. You've been a great neighbor. I'm going to reward you with this box of donuts. Well, the first time I bring the box of donuts, they might go, oh, thanks, Catherine, donuts. I hadn't had those in a while. That sounds great. I'll have one. And they'll let me in and they'll take the donuts. But let's say I knock on the door 3, 5, 7 times a day with a box of donuts, cookies, cakes, muffins, candy, alcohol, and I keep bringing them all this sugar. Well, after a while, they're going to go, we've had enough sugar. We can't take it anymore. That's exactly what your cells do. When you eat too much sugar too frequently, your cells go, we don't know how to handle this. And you become insulin resistant. So I've come up with a few highly effective natural healing remedies that you can follow to overcome sugar addiction. Now, how do I know these work? I have 28 years full-time experience in natural healing. I've used these strategies on myself. I've used these strategies on countless clients. I've had clients come to me with empty bottles of prescription appetite suppressants, and they tell me that these strategies work better than drugs that are supposed to suppress their appetite. So here's the overview of what I'm going to be teaching you. The first thing I'm going to teach you is what I call the 4S&P program. The 4S&P program is something that I came up with. Second thing I'm going to teach you about is the Bach flower remedy, Aggromony. Now, Bach flowers are flower essences. Someone one time asked me, what do I think are the most powerful natural healing remedies? And without a doubt, in my professional opinion, it's flower essences. You can take flower essences no matter what medications you're taking. They don't interfere with drugs. They work on the mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects, and they balance you out on the mental, emotional levels. The third thing that I'm going to teach you is an early morning anti-binge remedy. So if you find yourself struggling with your sugar addictions or alcohol addiction, you can follow this natural healing remedy first thing in the morning and set yourself up for greater success and being better prepared to combat your addiction later on. And the fourth thing I'm going to be talking to you about is discovering the sweetness of your life. So let's start with step number 1, the 4S&P program. This was a simple program that I put together years ago to explain to my clients what they can do to get their sugar cravings under control. And again, if you are in the later stages of extreme stress, you may find yourself literally not able to get off caffeine and sugar because you're using caffeine and sugar as fuel to just keep going. So this program is going to help you as well. So this program is so effective. I've yet to have had a single client who actually followed this advice who was not able to get their sugar cravings under control. And again, I've also worked with clients with every kind of eating disorder you could possibly imagine. I've even had clients who I thought if I didn't help them overcome their food addiction, they would literally die. So I'm talking about binging, I'm talking about anorexia, and everything in between. So what do the 4 S and P's and 1 P stand for? First is sleep, sunshine, supplement, skinny meals, and protein. So let's talk about sleep. Now, everybody knows that we all feel better when we get enough sleep. Now, the goal is for you to get 10 hours rest every day. Now, the experts say, well, you may only need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. However, you need a total of 10 hours of rest per day. So this is what I recommend for my clients. So you take the number 10 and subtract the number of hours you slept last night. The remainder is the number of hours of total rest and relaxation I recommend you get the following day. So also, you may want to make sure that you get to bed by 10 p.m. since every minute of sleep before midnight is worth 10 minutes of sleep after midnight. Simply put, your insulin will not work properly if you don't get enough sleep, and you won't be able to rebuild your neurotransmitters to combat sugar cravings if you don't get enough sleep. You can make yourself insulin resistant simply by being sleep deprived. Now, there's a lot to unpack in what I just said. So what I find is that many people who are sugar addicts and addicts of all kinds are in what I refer to, they're basically stuck in the sympathetic side of your nervous system. Let's back up. So you have a nervous system. There's two parts of your nervous system. The sympathetic side, which allows you to deal with stress. So you're in the sympathetic side when you're rushing, you're pushing, doing what all those coaches tell you to do, push harder. You're in the parasympathetic side when you're relaxing. Now, the thing to understand is that every neuron in your sympathetic nervous system is connected to at least 20 other neurons. The parasympathetic nervous system, however, the ratio is only 1 in 5. You are programmed to thrive, not necessarily, you're programmed to survive, not necessarily to thrive. So when you do not get enough sleep, you're stuck in this sympathetic nervous system. You're stuck in sympathetic overdrive. You're on this go, 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 push, push, push. And again, you're turning to sugar and caffeine to keep going. So by giving yourself permission to have a total of 10 hours of rest every day, you're going to allow yourself time and space to get out of this sympathetic overdrive. So let's say, for example, that you slept 7 hours last night. Well, then throughout the next day, you want to find a total of 3 hours to relax. What does that mean? For me, that might be lying in my hammock or having a prayer and meditation practice. Or it may be lying on the couch with your feet up, watching a funny movie. But having downtime of complete mental and physical rest. And the more that you can do that, giving yourself permission to keep 10 hours of rest every day, the less likely you'll find yourself to be in adrenal burnout. Now, the second S is sunshine. Now, I do a tremendous amount of healing work on the brain. And I notice that when I work with clients with eating disorders, that most of them, their pineal glands are not working right. Now, what's your pineal gland? It's part of your brain. It secretes melatonin so that you sleep properly. Now, I recommend my clients with sugar cravings get at least 30 minutes a day of direct sunlight, which is actually good for your eyes. Avoid wearing sunglasses unless the glare inhibits your driving. In case anybody argues with me on that point, let me say I teach a 2-day seminar with healing exercises for the eyes, and many of them revolve around your eyes needing natural sunlight. Now, some people of Northern European descent or those experiencing seasonal affective disorder or SAD may actually need up to 2 hours per day of direct sunlight. So many people live at a latitude on the planet. Think of Boston, New York, Paris, where during the fall and the winter months, they literally cannot get enough natural sunlight. I'm a great fan of therapeutic light boxes. There's a brand called Alaskan Northern Light Box that I am always recommending to my clients with seasonal affective disorder. And even though I walk my dog in the sunshine every day here in Atlanta, I own not one, but 2 light boxes so that when I'm working, when I'm sitting at my desk or doing healing work long distance, like I do with my medical intuitive healing clients all over the world, I have light boxes on so that I'm receiving therapeutic light. Now, the next S is supplement. Now, I recommend that people with sugar cravings do a zinc test. Zinc deficiency usually results from inadequate intake of foods high in zinc, such as seafood, oatmeal, bran, meat, eggs, and nuts, or from impaired absorption caused by short bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, or pancreatic insufficiency. You may also have a zinc deficiency due to excessive intakes of foods containing iron, calcium, vitamin D, or too much fiber from the phytates in cereals that bind zinc to form insoluble chelates that prevent its absorption. Zinc, if you've been reading about natural healing remedies for COVID-19, is also very important for your immune system. Alcohol, cirrhosis, dialysis, burns, draining wounds, and corticosteroids also increase the kidney's excretion of zinc. So there's many of us who really need to supplement with zinc. There are quite a few signs of zinc deficiency that you may notice on your body. One of them is white spots on your fingernails and soft nails, a poor immune system. So if you've been sick more than twice in the past year, you may have a poor immune system, acne, macular degeneration, delayed wound healing, severe iron deficiency anemia, eating disorders. So if you have eating disorders, you probably have malabsorption of many nutrients, including zinc. Now, there's several other supplements that I sometimes use if a client has severe sugar cravings, but I always start by testing for zinc. Other supplements would need to be reviewed on a case-by-case basis because you're biochemically unique. Sometimes I also recommend the amino acid glutamine or a high-quality protein shake, depending on the health of your GI system. Now, I want to have a big pause here, because if you're listening to this program and you're struggling with sugar cravings, you may notice that you're struggling with binging. So what is binging? Binging happens when you suddenly overeat 15 cookies or a gallon of ice cream, or you find yourself just suddenly eating large amounts of food. Now, if you do find yourself facing binge eating, this is an anti-binge strategy that I've used for years with my clients. So if you feel a binge coming on, this is what you do. The first thing that I want you to do when you feel a binge coming on is eat red meat. Usually a small amount will work, 3 to 4 ounces. So if you're wondering what 3 or 4 ounces is, it's usually about the size of your palm or a deck of cards. Now, I recommend red meat because it's the most grounding food. Most people who are binging are either in the process of disconnecting from their body, or you may already be disconnected. When you're disconnected from your physical body, you can eat and eat and eat and eat and not even feel full. So all this food is coming into your mouth, it's coming into your body, and you're not even feeling it. When you're normal and healthy, you eat and you go, oh, that's enough, I feel full. In addition to that, red meat is a protein food, and all your brain chemistry is made from the amino acids in protein. Eating red meat will begin to give your brain something of what it needs to begin to feel better. Now, the second thing you do when you feel a binge coming on is to drink a hot, non-caffeinated beverage. So you don't want to drink caffeine because that'll just wind you up even further. So I recommend something like an herbal tea. I recommend a hot beverage so that your stomach will begin to get the message that you've eaten something. I encourage you to choose something without caffeine because caffeine is simply going to shoot up your anxiety level and your stress hormones. And at this point, you need to soothe yourself. White tea is a good choice. So then after eating some red meat and drinking a hot non-caffeinated beverage, you want to wait about 10 minutes. So you're still like dying to just tuck into the ice cream or the cookies, but wait 10 minutes. So by waiting 10 minutes, and you can set your timer on your smartphone, you begin to allow your mind and body to get the message that you've actually eaten something already. So then after 10 minutes, give yourself permission to eat whatever you like to eat, so long as you put it on a plate, sit down and eat it off the plate like a civilized person. Do not eat standing up, standing in front of a refrigerator, in front of your pantry, out of a bag, or while driving a car. You'll need to sit down and relax. I'm always telling my clients digestion is a parasympathetic process, so you need to relax in order for your body to digest your food. And digestion is also a downward process. So when you multitask when you're eating, so you're watching videos, maybe you're watching this video while eating, you interfere with that digestion process. So the next S is skinny meals. Skinny meals are smaller portions eaten frequently. And here's where I really disagree with people who are advocates of intermittent fasting. So if you find yourself binging or having sugar cravings, I think skinny meals frequently work better. If your sugar cravings are out of control, you'll need to be eating every 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours at the most, to get your appetite back into balance. These days, the idea of intermittent fasting is all the rage, but I find that my clients who truly suffer from sugar cravings are more likely to binge if they try to starve themselves. Get out of that vicious cycle of starving and eat frequently with small amounts. The key thing to understand about a skinny meal is that if you eat too much of anything, eat too much protein, fat, vegetables, or carbohydrates, your body may secrete too much insulin, and as a result, you'll feel even hungrier. Store what you do eat as fat, and your digestion won't work right. So eat small amounts. And then finally, we get to the P, which is protein. When you eat carbohydrates alone, even fruit, or just bread, candies, pastries, pasta, your insulin surges, causing fat storage and poor energy levels. The way I gave you that story about me bringing a box of donuts to my neighbor. So again, the first time I show up with donuts, they're like, yay, donuts. I haven't seen those for a while. But when you overeat sugar, your body literally becomes sick of sugar and may not allow that sugar to come into the cells as it normally does to use for energy. So insulin is also the hunger hormone. So eating too many carbs can actually make you feel hungrier. And I can't tell you how many clients I've had who tell me, Catherine, when I eat the way you tell me to eat, I'm not hungry and I eat less. And when I eat the way I usually eat, I eat more food and I'm still even hungrier. Eating protein brings down the glycemic effect of your food, keeping your blood sugar balanced. So every time, a good rule is every time you open your mouth to eat something, include some form of protein. I also recommend that you eat red meat at least 9 ounces a week, since red meat contains methionine, an amino acid the body needs to keep your blood sugar balanced at a really deep level. So that's the 4S&P program. So another great natural healing remedy for sugar addiction is the Bach flower remedy, Aggromony. So what are Bach flower remedies? Bach flower remedies are made from flowers. They were developed in England in the 1920s by Dr. Edward Bach. So Aggromony is the remedy for people who keep their troubles hidden under a mask of pleasure and happiness. Now, how do you use flower essences? You put 2 to 4 drops under your tongue 5 times a day, or the best way to do it is to put 2 to 4 drops in your water bottle. Aggromony is the sad clown mask, masking inner hurt by being the life and soul of the party. And that's the Aggromony archetype. Friends are often the last to know that anything is wrong in the Aggromony person's life. So they put on this mask of happiness, everything's great, but underneath they feel quite sad and hurt. Sometimes Aggromony people turn to drink or drugs to help them stay happy. They tend not to like being alone. The mask slips when there is no company. They seek out friends, parties, and bright lights. Only at night, when they are alone with their thoughts, will the mental torture they have repressed come back to haunt them. And again, this is when you're more likely to eat too much, to turn to sugar or alcohol or other potentially harmful ways of self-soothing. Aggromony helps us come to terms with the darker side of our lives and our personalities so that we can become more rounded human beings. We won't lose our sense of humor or our ability to get through the day, but we'll find that laughing at our troubles dispels them rather than hides them. As a mood remedy, Aggromony helps anyone who is trying not to face a trouble and using jokes and false smiles to avoid a painful reality. Now, Dr. Edward Bach, the creator of Bach Flower Remedies, described Aggromony this way: the jovial, cheerful, humorous people who love peace and are distressed by argument or quarrel, to avoid which they will agree to give up much. Though generally they have troubles and are tormented and restless and worried in mind or in body, they hide their cares behind their humor and jesting and are considered very good friends to know. They often take alcohol or drugs in excess to stimulate themselves and help themselves bear their trials with cheerfulness. To take Aggromony, again, you're going to put 2 to 4 drops directly under your tongue 5 times a day, or put 2 to 4 drops in your water bottle. You can also put it in your bath. And if this description of Aggromony sounds like it might be helpful for you, you may need to be taking it on a long-term basis over a period of 6 months. Now, the next thing that is a really helpful if you find yourself struggling with sugar cravings is an anti-binge remedy. Over the years, I've found that clients tell me that this is even more effective for them than prescription appetite suppressants. So this anti-binge remedy has 0 negative side effects. So here's the ingredients. You're going to take a tablespoon of liquid chlorophyll, a tablespoon of fenugreek seed, 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed, and 8 ounces of water. Now, I want to make a comment. If you have long-term digestive disorders, you need to talk to me about the flaxseed, because some people, flaxseed agrees with them, other people, it aggravates your GI system. You're going to mix the liquid chlorophyll, fenugreek seed, and flaxseed and 8 ounces of water and drink it first thing in the morning. So you wake up in the morning, mix this together. And where did I find out about this? This is a great remedy that was taught to me by the great late Olympic strength coach, Charles Poliquin, author of 8 books about health and fitness, and coach to gold medal Olympic athletes. So you only need to take this natural healing remedy once, first thing in the morning. And what you'll notice is that this combination tends to reduce your appetite, not just first thing in the morning, but throughout the day, and it's going to help your insulin work better. Now, the last thing that we want to do when you're wanting to overcome sugar cravings is to discover the sweetness of your life. So this is the mental, emotional, spiritual aspect of this remedy. As a healer who's helped clients overcome literally every kind of eating disorder you can imagine: anorexia, bulimia, overeating, orthorexia nervosa, and more, I find a common denominator in sugar cravings is that you've disconnected from the sweetness of your own life. It's my opinion that we live in a beautiful world, and there's so much to love and enjoy about our life. And as you discover the sweetness of your own life, you'll not need to overeat sugar. So where can you find true sweetness? Cuddle a baby. For me, it's snuggling with my Cocker Spaniel. Take your puppy for a walk. Snuggle with a loved one. Visit a friend in need. Walk through a beautiful garden. And if you visited my website at catherinecarrigan.com, you've seen photographs of my organic garden and all the flowers that bring me so much joy, and all my orchids. Simply sit in the sunshine, enjoying the light on your face. Listen to the silence of trees. And of course, nature is one of the great healers of all time. Here at the Natural Healing Show for UK Health Radio, we've had numerous experts talk about just being in the woods for 20 minutes will boost your own natural anti-anxiety medications and natural antidepressants. Perhaps you can think of many other ways to connect with what is truly meaningful in your life. Use these affirmations. I relax and my life is sweet. I savor the sweetness of every moment. So, what are the benefits of these simple approaches? So, as you follow these recommendations that I've talked about in this program, you're going to find easier, more effective withdrawal from drugs, cigarettes, and alcohol. Your body weight will normalize even without going on a diet. You're going to heal your metabolism so that it's easy to maintain a healthy weight. And again, at 62, I don't struggle with my weight. I don't even weigh myself. I'm a small person, 5'3". I can tell if my clothes are getting too tight. So but most of all, to me, you free your soul from the chains of addiction. So if you've ever struggled with addiction, it literally feels like your soul is enslaved. Sugar cravings underlie addiction to drugs, cigarettes, and alcohol. So as you get your insulin back into balance, you may also find it easier to conquer even more life-threatening addictions. So how effective are these approaches? I've had countless clients say to me, when I eat my way, I eat more food and I'm hungry. When I eat your way, I'm not hungry at all. And sometimes somehow or another, I end up eating less. You may find yourself losing weight naturally. Getting your sugar cravings under control is a crucial step in healing your metabolism. You will not be able to enjoy a healthy metabolism as long as you're binging on sugar, and the pattern of spiking your blood sugar will keep your insulin levels erratic. So what is healing? Healing happens when you rediscover the natural sweetness of your own life and you get your sugar cravings under control. Thanks so much for listening. This is Catherine Carrigan, medical intuitive healer, Amazon #1 bestselling author. You can find out more about me and my work at catherinecarrigan.com and unlimitedenergynow.com. While you're there, definitely sign up for my newsletter so you can learn even more how to heal yourself naturally. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.